Hi, we're Mel and Missy, respectfully a clinical mental health therapist and fear fighter life coach. But it goes beyond that. We are representatives of you.
Trashed It is a brand that helps women focus on their next level of freedom by getting rid of the emotional garbage in their lives, whether it's toxic relationships, thought patterns, stigmas, etc.
We represent mothers and single mothers, daughters, wives, and divorcees, business professionals, entrepreneurs, and even Christians and ministers of the gospel.
We're trashing it all.
So, Missy, listen.
Yes.
How was your time in Florida?
Oh my goodness. My time in Florida was amazing. I can give you the long version or short version, but because of the time, I will give you a very short version.
All right, give me the short version.
Okay. Long story short, get off the plane, go to the mall, and guess who I run into? Pastor Wes Morgan. Off the escalator, going into Journeys.
Mhm.
I immediately turn, walk right behind him.
Did you stalk the man? You stalked him.
Probably for about 2.2 seconds I did.
Oh,
Yes.
You
And I said his whole name. I said, Pastor Wes Morgan?
Oh my God. See,
And
you
he
know
turned
what?
around and looked like, who knows me in here?
He
I
was
said,
like,
sir, I am a
who is
huge
this?
fan of yours. Girl, I
Okay.
asked about mom and dad, asked about the kids. Like, hey, how's everyone doing?
Wait, hold
He was
on.
like, wow, you are a fan. Yes, sir, I am. Huge.
Wait, hold on. You asked this man about his
I said, how's your
family.
mother and father?
See, that's creeper stuff.
But
That's creeper stuff.
I
That is
follow him
creeper.
on Facebook. He talks about his mother and father. Mom and dad are both preachers. He preaches
True.
at their church. This is before, of course, he moved to Tampa.
I mean, but you talking to this man like you go to his church on Sunday. So how's your mom and dad? Mm-mm.
I said, the kids. everyone
At
he's
that
like,
point, if he had an assistant with him, I know this assistant was probably dialing for security.
Then went to Disney World the next day, and anyone that knows me knows I am a huge Star Wars fan.
Wow.
Took 7 hours for me to get in the queue to ride the Star Wars.
Ooh,
Yeah,
7
it was
hours
awesome. Mm-hmm.
in the same line.
7 hours, huh?
In the same line.
No, we were in the queue, the virtual queue.
Okay. Okay.
So it literally took 7 hours to finally get there.
But you can still walk around the park.
Yeah, we still walked around and
Okay.
had a good time. Did a lot of other rides, but yeah, and,
Okay.
I was like a kid in a candy store. Interacted with the stormtroopers. I have that on video.
You know what? You was down in Florida being fast
No, I was not.
with the birthday shenanigans.
I know.
I don't really have an opinion, but I'm just saying.
So, did you see that the comedian AJ, what's his last name?
Johnson.
Yeah, AJ Johnson passed away. He was kind of young.
He was young.
What, 50s? Was he 50s?
I think he was in his 50s. Very, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
I just remember him from back in the day. I can't remember what. It feels like there was some movie.
Friday.
Okay, you want to know a secret?
What's that?
I wasn't allowed to watch those type movies when I was growing up.
Oh, you okay.
No, I
Understand.
wasn't. No, I wasn't. I had to sneak down the street to watch BET videos.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So my husband is always he does it to shame me, I think. No, just playing. He'll ask like, so babe, did you see just last night, I think we were watching something and there was a guy on there because as a family, like I was telling you, we binge watch shows.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can only commit to so many shows. So we don't watch anything that's on TV
Okay.
like right now today.
Mm-hmm.
And so so as a family, we've been binge watching A Different World.
I
And
love that show.
Yeah, so like the kids
Love it.
love it. They love it. And so there was this one episode and the guy on there was a character in, oh God, what's the black karate movie from like way back in the day?
Oh, gosh. Had you not said something, I would have known. And I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's like this black kung fu movie.
Uh-huh.
There was like a black staple, right?
Yes.
And this guy was on a different world in his younger years.
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband was like, you know who that is, right? I was like, no. And he said, you should be ashamed of yourself. Didn't you watch whatever the black karate movie is? And I said, no, you know I wasn't allowed to watch that when I was growing up. So yeah. So I think that's one thing. Anything else?
No, I can't think of anything. Well, you know what? You talk about old school. Not really old school, but back in the day TV shows. And I tell you what, I've been watching right now on Netflix is Moesha.
Really?
I love that show.
That was one of my favorites too.
Yeah, my favorites. And you know what? He was actually an extra in that show, and I didn't realize that.
Okay.
Yes, okay. He was an extra in that.
Okay. Did you see the Gabrielle Union came out with a new book, I think?
I saw that. I have not actually, of course, seen it or even purchased it, but I saw that she was, I guess, a special co-host last week on was it The Real or the?
I don't know if it was.
I'm gonna mix The View, because The Real just started their new season this week. It was The View.
Oh, the husband just told me Last Dragon.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. The Last Dragon. I remember
he
that.
Came and wrote it down for me. I love it. So done right now. But yeah, so Gabrielle Union has this new book out. I think the name of it is Do You Have Anything Stronger? I think that's the name of it. Do You Have Anything Stronger? Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the name of it. I briefly saw something about it because she had made this statement that if she were the woman she is now, back when her and Dwayne Wade were having issues, she wouldn't have stayed. Would not have stayed. And I thought that was really interesting.
Wow.
So yeah, but I didn't get a chance to really dive into all that she was saying about it, because I think she was talking about it in an interview on The View. I think it was The View, because I remember Whoopi Goldberg opening up the show, and she's on The View, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she was opening up the show, and she mentioned what she had written about that part of life, I guess, in the book. So yeah. So what are we what are we trashing today? What are we trashing?
And you know what? The sound effect that you just gave actually really goes hand in hand with the topic. We are trashing today the stigma that women cannot work together.
That's a good one.
And there's so many areas of that, because we are showing them that you can.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. However,
comma,
and maybe I'll be devil's advocate on this. Do you think we worked well together because we know each other and we trust each other? Or do you think you could just work with any woman?
You know what? I'll have to base it on I see that I have to base it on our relationship even before conversations even took place. I mean, we worked together in some capacity.
Right.
So I would say for you and I, yes, we could.
I think so too.
And we did. I mean, I really didn't know you. You really didn't know me, but we had to work together in a certain arena, and it just grew from there. And I think because we respected each other.
Right. I think we knew how, at that point, we knew how to go in, do the job, for the sake of the job, right?
Yes.
Like whatever our task was at that time, because this was in more of a church setting. But we were able to, whatever the project was, like we never brought like personal to the table.
No.
And then I think as time went on, we brought personal, but in the space and sanctity of, okay, yeah, we just handled the business, but girl, now let me tell you, like, and
that was the way it came. It was more of the girl. Oh my goodness. Oh,
yep.
Yeah, it was that type of relationship and conversation.
Yeah. I just went to, it's been maybe 4 or so weeks ago now, went to this women's event called Venture Capital Week, VC Week, with Fearless Fun. And so I was able to attend in Atlanta.
In person.
Yes.
I was virtual.
And you attended virtually.
Yes.
Yes.
This wasn't the same.
But one of the dopest things that just floored me from the very beginning. And I remember sitting next to this woman, this young lady, who everybody was just very friendly.
Yeah.
Right. And if I'm honest, I really went with this expectation of stuffiness, because I'm like, a lot of Black women, a lot of women business owners, a lot of whom are making really, really boss moves, real power players in the game. Oh my God, this is probably going to be like watching paint dry, or everybody's going to have a stick up their behind.
Yes.
And to walk in, and from the very, very first person, it was just so warm and so inviting, and women talking to each other. And this was everyone from the people that were attending to Arian Simone, which is one of the founders of the organization of the Fearless Fund, to everyone that was working along with it, to the panelists that came in and spoke. There was not a person in the room that had this attitude or this air of superiority. And I just thought it was so cool. And it was so dope that there were women that wanted to see other women win.
Exactly.
And were willing to share. They were willing.
Let me write that word down.
Yeah, like they were willing. They were like so willing to share. That completely floored me.
Yeah. And I felt the same, even with me watching it virtually. I felt the same type of energy that you felt in that atmosphere. I'm like, man, it just seems so welcoming, so warm, very informative, but fun.
Absolutely.
And then when I scoped you out and I'm texting you like, hey, are you sitting next to this woman right here? And that was just, you know what? It was fun to see you as my business partner. You and I are business partners together. Like, we're getting the same information, but you're getting it in real time. And I am too, but on a virtual level. But it was so awesome to see that, to see all these women come together. And I tell you, when it really touched me is when the founder went up to the stage. I think that was the last day on Friday. And she gave information. And I apologize, I can't remember what information it was on.
So Friday
I think it was about invest.
Yeah, Friday was all about finances and investing.
Okay.
And really kind of getting your affairs, getting your assets in order, stocks and bonds, and just all of these different venture capitals, right? So that's what Friday was about. And I remember she legit stopped
it had somebody to go get her
DJ. Yeah, well, she stopped the DJ because the DJ was about to wrap that setup. And she like walked up to the front and was like, no, like, hold on for a minute, because I want these certain questions answered, because basically I want us all to win.
Yeah.
So she wanted them to go over not just stocks, but like, hey, what are some of the stock options we all are investing in, right? Let's not just put it out here vaguely, but let's literally walk through some of our portfolios. So that was, I promise, it was very, very life-changing, to just meet women who were just so willing to share. And, you know, and it wasn't just for the sake of, okay, we're here in this space.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, a lot of like minds that really were of the mindset of, hey, we're here, let's network, let's connect, let's see how we can partner even after this thing. You know, so that was really one of my most pleasant opportunities to see women in action, and see us like not afraid to let each other shine, and then not being afraid to ask questions. That
now you talk about dope. That was dope.
Yeah.
Just to see the bravery, because I'm pretty sure the majority of the women did not know one another, and I could be wrong.
Right.
But when you have 3 of those women on that platform, and you talk about all of their assets together combined,
right,
and it wasn't about that, but they poured in. I mean, if you could have seen the chat box on the virtual level,
really,
nobody could keep up.
Nobody.
Man. I mean, we were writing and typing and taking pictures and trying to record and just listen, and to get so much. And prayerfully next year, I'll be able to sit right next to you.
I know.
And because I plan on going.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I think so. I do think a lot of times people, you know, I think the stigma again that we're trashing with regarding women can't work together. I think sometimes it's true, but I think it's because of us, you know, because like I just said, I went into that space with the expectation that I was going to get the same experience that I had gotten in the past.
Yeah.
Right. And so I wonder if sometimes we don't ignore great opportunities to work with some really dope women because of past experiences. You know,
and do you even think taking it one step further past the past experience, that we don't measure up? Because I think a lot of times we equate success with money. And I think that's a mindset that needs to be changed.
I absolutely agree. Okay, I just got sidetracked because I just noticed that your glasses are pink and your nails are green. I thought that was very interesting. But okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Forest country green, yes.
I like it. I like it. Let me focus. So that's I think where my therapy spidey senses really start to tingle, right? Because
and it just hit me what Melanie, we might have to do this over because it just hit me what you said. The pink and green.
Oh well, they'll edit it if they need to, and if not, then
and red lipstick, really.
It looks pink though.
I think it's kind of pinkish red. Yeah. It just dawned on me. Oh my gosh.
Becky. No, okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. But seriously, that is one of the things that really gets my therapy spidey senses tingling, because you're absolutely right. And I think that's what we kind of call imposter syndrome. Like a
Oh,
lot of us think we don't really belong in the room.
that was
So
my
we
middle name. But go ahead.
really, oh,
You know that. So you
yeah.
can't even sit up here and say, really? Real no, and I'm saying to you, really? You didn't know that? Really?
But think about it. We do it to ourselves. We dismiss ourselves from circles. We dismiss ourselves from networking opportunities, because we've already counted ourselves out.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, we've already determined I don't really belong here. I'm not as successful as the next person. Instead of leaning into the things we are strong in, right? Go ahead.
And you know what's so funny when you talk about networking and really making ourselves available. So, of course, me having been in Florida, in Tampa, for vacation, so I am in a networking group. And this young lady that I listen to and I follow some of her work, she lives in Tampa.
Okay.
And the crazy thing, she had sent me an inbox about something that she's doing coming up. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let me register for that. And I said, hey, by the way, I'm in Tampa. Maybe, if your time permits, we can meet for coffee, or I would love to meet you. And I do not believe 6 months ago I would have contacted her because A, I didn't know her, and B, because of the work that she does. Okay. And, then you think, man, I'm just a little peon. What? She won't respond back. What? She wouldn't change her schedule. And the first thing she said is, oh my gosh, I wish you would have told me before. We would have made plans. She said, I have something to do. Hopefully, basically I can rearrange. If not, we'll catch each other the next time. Like, do you know how that made me feel? Wow. And I'm like, that's all it takes.
Yeah. But most of the time we don't do that. We won't. We refuse because we've already counted ourselves out.
Yeah.
And then we like to blame it on everybody else.
But exactly.
Because I'll be honest, I've been the same way. Years ago, I would never be doing a podcast. I wouldn't be doing a podcast. I'm actually going golfing. I'm going golfing next week. Yes.
Awesome.
With a group of ladies. I never, and one of my relatives invited me. I never would have done that because I immediately would have thought like, that's going to be stuffy. I don't know these ladies. It won't be enjoyable. What will we have to talk about? But the reality is, if you never do anything different, you'll never get a different result.
And that's true. We take the same way to work and we never venture out of the norm. We never venture out of our comfort zone. And why? And it goes back to the subject topic of women. Can we, and you know what, probably instead of saying, can women work together? Can we support one another?
Are you interested in being a sponsor for the Trashed It podcast? If so, reach out to us via email at wetrashedit@gmail.com.
I think now, just hearing you talk about the Fearless Fund a couple of weeks ago, can women support one another?
You know what? To be honest, I think it goes all the way back to just how we've been trained to think. I happen to have been reading over the Willie Lynch letter. Okay. And you know how in the letter it talks, the making of a slave and how the slave owner is basically discussing, this is how you can breed, this is how you can make a slave for the next, I think, what was it, 400 or so
400
years. Okay. And so one of the things he talks about in this letter is pitting like your old males against the younger males and pitting the male against the female, right? And beating the male in front of the female so that she no longer looks to him for strength or looks to him for safety and security, but she only looks at the slave master.
Mhm.
And then he goes into talking about, pitting the light skinned against the darker skin.
Mm-hmm.
So in all these ways, we've been manipulated into the way we don't trust each other.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most important things this particular slave owner thought was, if we can sift them mentally, right? If we can get in and infiltrate the Black mentality, we got them.
Yeah. And look, 400 plus years later.
Yes.
And so you talk about generational.
Right.
Well, yeah, it is generational.
Mm-hmm.
It started 400 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely did. So sometimes I don't even know that we know why we don't support each other. Mm-hmm. We just don't. Like we find reasons to not support each other. I think I've been in so many situations in which there was this thought of, oh sis, only one of us can be in this room.
Exactly. Yes.
And because there are 2 or 3 of us in this room, we dare not speak to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
For real.
Like, and it's foolery. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Why do you think we don't support each other though? I mean, those are my reasons, but just me.
You know what? So many. When I hear this subject, it's almost like I'm looking in a bowl of alphabet soup, and there are so many letters, and there's so many ways that you can spell whatever. And that's like literally how I feel right now. I think it goes deeper than the support. I think a lot of it has to do, as you just stated, what is she doing in this room? And I say we collectively, because now I talk about it, we as a race, we are so caught up on titles.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if she or he, even for that matter, does not have a comma and some initials with, periods in the middle, that they don't belong. Your background, your past can count you out. Your education.
Do you think it's the hierarchy? Do you think as women,
it's a hierarchy?
There we have like this hierarchy of like, okay, if sis isn't in this category, if sis doesn't roll in this group or in this network, I don't really fool with her.
I don't fool with her. And so then you talked about, of course, and it was in the letter, the light versus dark. Let's talk long hair versus no hair.
Oh, right.
Let's talk married, not married. Let's talk divorcee times, however many. Kids, no kids.
And we use all of that to categorize our own selves.
We do.
And then
we can't advance.
Right. So we can't work together.
Exactly.
Almost. But it's no one else's fault but our own. And so now when you bring in now the sex of an individual, so you add a woman in the mix of it. And now it's all over the place. Because now as women, we are territorial. I think it's just in our DNA. I think it's in our makeup. And I've been territorial. Not you, Becky.
Yes, I have. I have been territorial. And it was hard. And I do believe for me in that space of it's mine. I don't want anybody to take it because that's all I had. And it wasn't a tangible item. It was just like, you know what? This is my thought. This is what it is. And I'm going to tell you, even going a step further, asking for help. So I don't know if you remember a particular event that we had at church. And I think this is when we first met. It was our like a Sunday, not a Sunday school picnic, but it was like a summer social type deal.
Okay. I remember
Shut down
that.
the street. And you were like, Melissa, did you need any help? I'm like, I can do it. I got it. It was like putting some chairs out, getting everything done. And you were like something to the effect of, why didn't you ask for help? I'm like, oh, I'm over it. I can do it. I got it. And the next Sunday you had to preach. That was your first Sunday preaching there.
I remember that. In my mind, I still can see a picture that we took from that day.
Yes. And so I have struggled with that. And I think a lot of it has to do, when you become a single mother and then you're divorced and then you become a wife and then you're divorced again. And, everything just falls on you like, well, shoot, I can do this myself. Like, I don't need any help.
Yeah, but look, at the same time, why can't we get it through our heads that we do better when we are working together? We do better when we have other people to lean on, right? It's like we would rather break. Huh? Yeah, like we've been programmed. Yeah, like we would rather break than to work with other women, to seem as though we don't have all the answers, to ask questions, and I keep going back to the Fearless Fund, the Venture Capital Week, because there was this one particular lady that was there. Her name was Ashley Fox. And yeah, I'm giving Ashley Fox a shout out right now. Super, super dope, right? So first day I see her, she has on sneakers, shorts, and like a short set, right? Because those are back in style now. And when I say for every panelist, the first person, like the first one or two people that had questions and just like, just writing stuff down, like really, really trying to figure it out. And like, okay, here are my questions, right? Circle back. Next day, sis is on the panel herself, right? Hair pressed, laid to the side, had on her cute heels, her cute dress, talking about these degrees, very, very degreed individual, and sat and owned the stage in her own right with her own knowledge. And it baffled me, but in a good way, that the same individual that was so well-spoken and so eloquent and so smart when it comes to finances was also on this other end saying, hey, I don't know everything. Yeah. So sis, let me ask you, because like you've already been here, done this. Yeah. So let me ask. And I mean, and she was not timid in anything she asked. And she so got my vote, just with the way that she could move in. She knew how to move in who she was, right? So there wasn't a thought of, oh, because I'm here and I'm also a panelist, it's gonna look bad for me to ask questions, and it shouldn't be that I don't know anything, right? But she was willing to still step out and put herself in this space, and be vulnerable while still owning her authority in what she was great at. Yeah. And I think with us, we want to own the entire playground. Right. Like if I don't own the whole playground, I don't want to play on it.
That's right. From the slicky slide.
Yeah, like they're my marbles, it's my Barbies, and we got to play my games. And unless we're gonna play my games, I'm not home. Coming. Yeah, exactly. I'm packing up my stuff and I'm going home. And how dare you want to play with somebody else?
And we think that when we don't show up or when we say no, we're not coming, that we're making a statement. No, we're not. You just didn't show up. You just missed out. Right. And so unfortunately for them, but fortunately for the person that is still there, more for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many times, I'll take that back. It's amazing how many times we don't attend because of who has invited us or who is going to be there. Well, who's going to be there?
Yeah. Oh, see, that to me, that's an entirely different show right there.
Who's going to be there? Why is she invited? Why are they invited? Who are they?
Because we're full of preconceived notions.
We are.
Like we will prejudge a situation to death.
Yeah.
And because of what we create out of wicked imagination, we are judge, jury, executioner. We count ourselves out before it even starts.
Yeah.
We automatically think the worst because that's just what
it's in our nature.
Yeah, it's in our nature, and that's what we've been programmed to believe. So we just don't do.
Yeah.
We don't do, we don't go. But I think, maybe rounding it back. I do think it takes having the ability to want to trust.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to trust you. Even in going into this venture,
yes,
I think for both of us, there had to be a decision of, I'm going to trust this person.
And it's true. And it and not cutting you off, it goes deeper than money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have to trust me knowing that whatever my assignment is for a particular session or a particular topic that we have, or whatever the case may be, that you're going to trust that I'm going to get it done, and vice versa. Now, the only thing you cannot trust for me is that I will be up past 11:15. So we know right now that you cannot trust me to say that I will be up past 11 o'clock, but I'm getting better.
Well, and you can't trust me to say I'm going to be up at like
at 6 in the morning,
6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning. No, ma'am, you can have it.
But and I think that is so funny, Mel, because that, I think what makes us so different but the same, like what you get done at night, I pick up in the morning. But and I've noticed that with us. I'm sorry.
But I was saying, but there had to be a choice of trust.
If I don't see the bubbles moving,
the bubbles. And I could tell when you see me active, because you'll send me that little good morning, and I'll be like, oh, she saw me.
Like, she's on. Good morning.
But and literally, I am still in bed. I am in bed, hadn't rolled over yet.
I'm on my second cup of coffee. Like, oh, I got to get this. I got to let her know this. And so I'm that morning business partner, and you're the evening business partner.
Right. But I think
we meet each other in the middle.
Right. I think we have made it work, but I don't think in every situation there has to be this long-standing, relationship that has grown in order for you to be able to work with women. I think it's legit a choice. It's a choice for me to choose to go to this golfing event. It's a choice. It was a choice for me to choose to put myself in the space with these other women. And it was a choice that when I got there, I wouldn't just clam up.
Okay, right? I'm going to be devil's advocate real quick.
Okay.
Because it just hit me. Is it a choice because you wanted to do it? Or is it a choice because you're tired of not doing it?
Oh. Ask me again. Let me think on it. Let me let it simmer for just a minute. Ask me again.
Is it a choice because you wanted to do it? Or is it a choice because you're tired of not doing it?
If I'm honest, I would have to say it's the latter. Let me practice my great public speaking. That was a great question. I'm so glad you asked. But seriously, I think my answer would have to be the latter. Because when you keep uninviting yourself from the party, You really can't complain when you don't have an invitation to the party.
Yes. And now you talk about she ready.
Right. And you can't really complain about not having a seat at the table or not having influence in certain arenas if you never place yourself in the space for said invitation or for said seat at the table. So we can either sit, or I'm going to just use me personally. I can either sit and I can complain about the things that I would like to see changed, or the things I would like to have voice or say in. And I can keep sitting to the side and just talking about XYZ, or I can make the decision. Because the reality is, most of the time, it's not that we are uninvited from spaces. We never place ourselves in the vein of just being receptive.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely it's a choice.
It is.
And for me, I think I was tired of feeling lonely. Tired of that feeling of, you want sisterhood and you want mentorship, and you want a guide, right? Because at the end of the day, life just is not meant to be lived on this lone island of I can do everything on my own.
Yes.
Right. So coming to terms with that and understanding, like, okay, if I want to, there was also a book I read. There's a book called What Got You Here Won't Keep You Here. No, what is it? What got you here won't take you there, or something. I feel like I need to look it up to just make sure I get it right. But there were certain things like that, right? So you can be comfortable on the level you're on, and in the vein and in the space that you're in, or you can decide, let me do something different. Like, what would happen if I chose to work with said other female entrepreneur, right? That has business I could possibly partner with. What would happen if I got out of my own way and started to nurture relationships? Because of me personally being willing to just wake up each day and make the choice. Like, I legit each day have to make a choice to network and connect with people, or just stay in my own little world.
Exactly.
And I think because of that, it has garnered partnerships. It's garnered, being able to work with different individuals that wouldn't have happened if I didn't make the choice.
Exactly.
You got to choose to pick up the phone when people call you.
You're right. That's true.
You got to choose to text back if if someone texts you.
Yeah.
You got to choose to speak when you walk into a room.
Oh, you better say it. Better say it.
It's all choice, and just most often we just don't choose. We would just rather not.
Yeah, because it's comfortable for us not to, and we don't want to put in the work, because it's work stepping outside of your comfort zone and finally getting to that point of wanting to make that choice. It's a lot of work, and I think the older we become, we have to start making those choices. So, I mean, as everyone knows, I turned 50 last week. Yeah, she ready. And I said that there were going to be things in this season that I was purposely going to do by myself.
It's almost like you have to be bold enough.
Yes.
And fearless enough. To say, you know what? Okay. Maybe in the past, I haven't been trusting of women.
Yes.
Or maybe in the past, I haven't had a lot of positive relationships with other females in working with them. But it doesn't mean that moving forward, I have to keep judging everything by my past experiences.
Exactly.
Some of us, I think we got chick trauma, but
well, no, and I think so.
We got chick trauma. Like we remember, we remember
at 8 years old.
Yeah, we remember the ones that hurt our feelings, or that your mama didn't like, your auntie, or you had other female relatives that didn't get along with
cousins.
Yeah. And so I think over time, we've gotten so accustomed to it that we don't even want to take the chance, right? Yeah. And then sometimes I think we think everybody has to be our friend.
No.
Like if we're going to do business, we need to be friends. Because a lot of us, we don't know how to separate the two. Like we don't know how to be business constituents, or colleagues, and have an associates type relationship.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to merge over into we're BFFs.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
And I think for some of us, that turns us off to working with other women, right? Because we feel like, okay, we don't vibe like that. We don't click like that.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Right.
Do we click on the level that you like what I don't like? I like what you don't like. And together we could partner and we could really accomplish something wonderful?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's more, I keep going back to this. I've said it numerous times. It's more than a dollar bill, yo.
Yeah.
And we all, please do not get it twisted. We all want to make money.
Twisted.
Please.
Absolutely.
However, it's about the impact. How effective can you be? Again, we talked about the example where you're better at night during some of our business work and myself in the morning. But what I do love, I'm getting a little bit better day by day, is that you have held me accountable in the areas that are my weakness. And it's my weakness because I don't understand it. And because I haven't made the time available to understand it. And I'm like, well, she'll just do it. And this is what you'll tell me. You give me that disclaimer. Now, ma'am, I'll do it. But ma'am, please listen, ma'am.
Let's be clear.
Yes, let's be clear. I won't do that anymore. And so like now I have just the way we're operating. And I think slowly but surely I'm getting better. But also I think a lot of times we incorporate life. And so now knowing how to structure, knowing how to schedule, it took me some time. And I'm gonna get it. But I like it that you have not held my hand. Like you've encouraged and cheerleadered and supported. And like, hey, it could have been done a little bit better, but that's what it's about. That's what business partners are about.
But you know what, though? You made the choice to allow me to.
I did.
You had to be, like, you legit had to be open to saying, hey, I don't understand this, or I don't know how to do this, right? Like you had to be open to that part. And then I had to be open to making the decision of, okay, cool. You don't understand this. I do. Yes. Let me show you. Let me take you to the water and help you fish.
Yes.
So you can learn how to fish on your own. And that's true. Right? But true. But there had to be choice on both parts. There had to be a level of vulnerability.
Yeah.
And we as women, oh God.
Yes.
We don't want to be vulnerable.
No, we want everyone to think that we are Wonder Woman and Superwoman. We change our capes and the initials on our shirts from an S to a W when really we're T, we're tired, we're E, we're exhausted. Hell, we're lazy. Why? Because we're wanting to be the S's and we're wanting to be the W's every single day. And we're not tapping into it. We're just not. I told someone before, and see, then I get on this high horse because I love people, and I especially love women, and I love it when we can come together and embrace one another. Because I think I've said this to you. There was 3 things that, we were breasted to feed into life. We were shaped to bring forth life.
Come on, Reverend.
And we were mouthed to speak life.
Yes.
But we don't tap into those 3 main areas of who we are. He created us this way.
Right. And we don't allow other women to help shape, help feed, help nourish, help push us forward. We won't allow other women to do that, because think about it. You could have said nothing. You could have never said, "Hey, I don't really know how to do Instagram.
And I'm struggling and sweating."
Yeah, or I don't really know how to do XYZ. And it would have been nothing, right? I would have just seen you posting whatever. But however, comma, you were open and I was open, right? And at the same time, I have been open to you helping me with like the structure, right? Because you're this very structured, planned out person, right? And I need that. Like I need, because okay, listen, I live in the twilight zone, so you kind of got to be able to go with the flow over here in the Preston household. But you help keep me balanced in that way, right? But I had to make a decision to allow you to see that.
Yeah.
So I think, in order for us as women to work together, it's all about choice.
It is.
It's all about choice, and it's all about trust.
Yeah.
Like,
and how far are you willing to go in being vulnerable? Like there could have been a section of you that I'm going to open the gate up just a tad, enough to let the little puppy dog out to go and do what he or she needs to do and come back in, and I'm going to shut it.
That's been me. I can admit that has absolutely been me in many situations, because a lot of times we go into spaces with the thought of, oh, they know me as this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or they've seen me in this light. So I dare not seem as if I don't know.
Exactly. Because I'm
not on top of it. Right. Versus trusting that people are not intentional, trusting that other women are not maliciously out to get us.
Bingo.
Now there are some whack ones. There are some trifling ones.
Yes.
In the world, but like, can we stop just shutting it down before we even give it?
That is true. That's true. Because that's true. Wow. Well,
I think
we trashed it. I think we trashed the stigma that women cannot work together, women cannot support one another, women cannot mentor one another, women cannot come together. And guess what? We can.
As always, we thank our listeners for tuning in. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trashed It! Podcast. You can listen to our podcast on various podcast platforms. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trashed It! Podcast, and please chit chat with us throughout the week on our social media channels, Facebook at Trashed It and Instagram at We Trashed It.